How's it going?
Good. Looks like we've got a quorum.
Yes, we do.
We're gonna got a number of submitted questions. We'll get to those. We're gonna kind of cover, also cover some trading this morning, and what we're yet looking for today, and hopefully have some fun. That's always the plan, is to have some fun. And
That helps.
It helps, and get into the weekend unscathed. Well, let's get started, shall we? Welcome to our live profiling Q&A session here at Trade Profile. I did not have the annotation tool. There we go. At the onset, just want to be mindful of risk involved in trading. Hopefully you know this. If you've ever tried to put a trade on, you know that the trade can go against you, and that it is very important to know how much you can risk, how underlying instrument movement can impact risk as you're looking to put a trade on. We are fundamentally behaviorists. So when there are a number of different ways you can approach markets that are all rational and reasonable, and fundamentalists interpret balance sheets, technicians interpret price, but profilers interpret behavior. I'd give a great attribution to our buddy Tom and Corby on that one. But what we're really looking at when we look at the profile as a tool is we're looking at arranging price information that's ultimately behavioral. So we're asking, how are market participants interacting with certain prices? How are they behaving around those prices to help give us an insight into what's happening on the far right edge of the chart? A couple welcome and introductions if you've not been with us before. This is me. I'm Josh. I'm the founder of Trade Profile. We've been doing this for a couple years. I've started as a retail trader, like many people, and ultimately worked into the industry along with BJP, and one of our coaches. And between the two of us, we're getting close to a little bit of market knowledge and understanding. And we always laugh because there's just all this stuff that I was just thinking yesterday. I was talking to one of the traders in our community who was just like, oh man, I just feel like I made every mistake in the book. And I'm like, well, yeah, we've covered those. we've made a few.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. The idea, the idea is not to fail for failure's sake. The idea is never like, well, I'm just going to keep failing until it works. No, the idea is to improve and have process around that. And our process is really built around something that we call our profile trading development pathway. And this is a constantly evolving idea, but it's a 16 auction principles that we work with developing traders to help them build trading skill and consistency. And it really came out of my time working on the managed futures desk and as a broker with RJO. And when I came in my plan every day, what was in part of that plan, and just kind of teasing that apart, is what came as far as these modules of understanding that we look at in the market. And they're all built around kind of these three ideas. So like when somebody asks me like, hey, what do you need to be successful as a trader? I could hone it down to these three things. I could say you need to be able to observe the 4 behaviors in every auction, and you need to know how to observe them in the time frame that you want. You need to be able to identify rest in the auction. You need to identify a test. You need to identify a move. You need to understand where a beginning is. You need to know the 4 questions to ask before entering a trade and how to answer them. What is the opportunity? Why? What's an objective target that I'm looking for in this trade? What am I willing to risk for that opportunity? And then behaviorally, what's the narrative of what I think needs to go right for that trade to work, and what would go wrong that would tell me, hey, this isn't working and I need to be in defense mode? And then the 4 stages of auction competency and how to know which one you're in. Stage 1 is an unconscious incompetence. It's where it's where everyone starts when they first start trading, because they don't know what they don't know. And then, often after you start trading and you find out that things aren't as you thought they were, or you become a conscious incompetent, where you realize, oh my gosh, there's stuff I don't know and I need to learn. So then you work towards stage 3, which is a conscious competence, which is where you have a system that has edge that you're working at methodically, improving process that leads you to where you really want to be, which is a stage 4 competence, where you've worked so hard in developing a rigorous process and approach to the markets that it becomes instinctive, and that's when it really gets fun. Is that you know what you're looking for, you know what you're waiting for, you can be patient, and as we often say, you're ready to pick up the bag of money in the corner. And with our specific trading community, we look at this every day in something that we call a trade plan. So, you know, we publish a plan, which we'll look at today's plan and kind of see what the plan was before the market and what we have seen as the markets evolved and what went according to plan and what didn't. Just like every person who goes on to a battlefield, you have a plan that is thought out, and as soon as you get on the battlefield, things change. But the process of planning for it adapts you and prepares you to be able to do that. We do that every day through something called our trade plan. So with that, let's jump over and look at where we are currently and kind of get a sense of what's happened so far, what was the expectation, and what we have yet to look for later in the session. So let me jump over here. We're going to look at a number of markets while I restart. And I'm also going to pull over So we had something called a neutral extreme day yesterday. So what that is that there's something called the initial balance of the auction. And when you extend in one direction, that's IB extension, and then you come back through the other side and close on the high and actually engulf the prior day, that's typically a really good buy sign. You would expect that the auction would move higher the next session, and we were also had closed above a pretty good area of multiple session price acceptance. You can see that here built out on this node. And this node over here is actually a cumulative volume over those sessions. So the expectation was that we would go into this gap and maybe work towards 57.29 in the session. Now, before the session, so that was the expectation coming in. Before the session happened, and you'll see here when we get looking at the live market here in just a second, is that we actually traded all the way down to 54.86. That was based on news released by Iran that the U.S. had promised to lift sanctions, and you know that removes tension in the energy space, and we had gapped lower. So we actually will, open down here, which that changes the plan. That changes the scenario. It changes the expectations. No longer is the expectation to get up here. The expectation would be more to watch and see if we can get back into this area. This line right here, this yellow line, is what I call a pre-IB bias. So every day, as part of a plan, you come in and you have a general expectation of where the auction is going to go, and then a line in the sand that says, okay, if I touch that level before the first hour's trade is over, I need to pay attention because my bias might be off. And that level was here 55.68. Why that price? Well, one, there's a bulk of volume in the profile yesterday that if we were accepting below that, so if you're above this and you come down into this, that represents buyers and sellers. You would expect the buyers to step in and re-engage back higher. If they trade straight through that, something has changed in the market, and you kind of have to go back to wait and see approach and see what happens. Okay, so now with that, let's get over here and look at, hopefully the crude chart has loaded up. Oh man, my workspace is having trouble. Jeez.
We wore it out this week.
I wore it out this week. What it is I need a new GPU for this machine.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, so I'm presenting these charts on my MacBook because all my execution software is on my other machine. I don't blend them, so that if something crashes on this, I don't, it's disaster recovery. And but it just doesn't have a powerful enough graphic card to drive everything all the time. Okay. pull NASDAQ because we're getting close to the area that I was looking to potentially be short.
Yep, we're coming up to it here. They just need to push.
Okay, so here's that overnight range. Here you can see the push all the way down in here. On the open, we opened inside the overnight range, and then the initial balance was from here to here, which got us back to that level that we were saying, hey, there were buyers and sellers that would re-engage. The trade that we took today was once the IB extended on this right here, we were looking for a push to 56.20. Now, we got that one based on buy stops that were right above here. That was only a partial position, because at that point, what you're looking for is you're looking for actually a rotation back to value around 63 into this area of volume to add more size. We didn't get that, and they ran straight to the target. So now, as far as like what's potential opportunities left, the value has migrated up here higher. I might look potentially for a short up in this area that could rotate back if we could get up that high. I don't know if we can get up that high, or might look for a long back toward the open. If we can rotate back towards the open or to this area, and then rotate back to current day value. So part of what happens when you have a plan, you're understanding, where you are in the auction, and then you have specific setups that you look to exploit within that larger context. And so the setup that we exploited today was what we call an IB extension go with, is where we're looking to go with the extension. Now, I would tell you, if you did not have buy stops at the high, you were not in this trade. There was no time to get in. Like, it literally was like boom, and we took off. But which is also why you would have you did a partial, because we had done actually about an average first hour of range before we popped. Would have liked to have received the pullback, but that's just not what they offered. So now we're on the sidelines on that one. As far as the indexes, which is the other place that we look to. So we look for intraday trades in both in crude oil and the NASDAQ are our chosen products of intraday trading. And the NASDAQ is really kind of a tough area to trade. We came in this morning with a key level right here, this 95. That's the most traded price. You can see if you look over the last several sessions, that's the most traded price. We opened inside of yesterday's range and quickly tested the most traded price from yesterday. So there was a quick open trade, a little quick swing short that some of us took advantage of on the open just to get back. So the target was 90. So you're keeping your risk tight to that. Basically, once they opened and it came back through the open, there's your entry, and you're looking to move there. Obviously, you can see we've extended lower and we've actually taken out the overnight low. So the trade that we're actually looking for now is we're looking kind of in this area, and we're looking to see if we can invite some more sellers as long as we stay below 77.94 and start working our way towards 77.30. So that's actually what we're watching for right now. And I'm actually going to turn on the shorter time frame here to see if we get the behavior that we want.
It's looking good so far.
Yeah, the overall order flow is to the sell side. Sellers are in control of the auction. We are establishing value lower. We're above the current day developing volume point of control. And as a general rule, when you're looking to put on a position, you want to sell at or above value, and you want to buy at or below value. So we're looking to sell here at or above value, specifically above value. And we're just watching. So if we get some sellers to step in here, the first target lower is going to be 55, and we'll kind of watch that, but then we're expecting a push towards 30.
That would be great if they go test at 30.
Yeah. A couple just anatomy. I know some people had asked, just to understand profiling in general, what we're looking at. So while we're looking to see if we can get a trigger here. So this is what a market profile graphic is. This is arranging 30-minute price data. So that's what these letters represent, is the range of each 30-minute period. We're now in C period, and we're waiting to see if we get some extension. Looks like we might have a little bit of a news event taking place. A little spike there on the S&Ps.
Okay, that's not good.
No, let's see what the Twitter says.
Yeah, that's serious buying in there. What are they doing? Gosh darn it.
Haven't seen anything yet. If we reject here on the spike and get back through 71, that could be a rejection that gets us short. But if we get back above this area, that could give us juice to go towards 27 in this direction. And that's part of the dynamic of being in a more balanced market, is that you can have really kind of any direction was possible today. Okay, this is contract volume. So one of the things that we like to see, if an auction is going to move in a direction and sustain, you want to see people participating at those prices. So this is the cumulative contract volume for the day at each price. This is the contract volume at each price within a 5-minute. This number that's changing below here, that's the cumulative order flow, the difference between trades placed on the bid versus the ask. On this platform, a negative number is actually buying. So you can see we've had, buying, what we call buying delta, the last three, basically the last 15 minutes. So again, we would need to see some selling delta or a negative number to get in here. Overall for the session, we're negative about 700. And we're looking to see if we can, if we can get back through the base of where some of this buying is, then we got a shot. But right now it's a little bit dicey. Most traded price down here is at right around 56, about 4,300 contracts. So you can see if they were going to try to migrate value higher, they've got a couple areas that they could potentially do that if they spend some more time at. So that's something to kind of monitor. Over here on the right is a composite volume profile. These peaks represent transactions, buyers and sellers. The larger the peak, the more buyers and sellers are active at those levels. And those are levels that we pay attention to. You can also pay attention to the what we call the low volume areas. But if you're in a plan, we typically key in on the high volume areas. The reason for that is because when the auction comes back to test those levels, it often slows and gives you time to make a decision. On the lower volume stuff, we can tend to push in and push out. As is evidenced today, we pushed into a low volume area and then rejected out pretty quick. Whereas, if we get back up here, expect the auction to kind of, make it trade sideways for a second and then decide if it's going to roll back over or push in that direction. And we may actually have to get back up there to 93 to find some more sellers, which is fine. This is a 30-minute period, kind of exploded with the 5 minutes inside, so you can see multiple time frames. And noticing that we do have a higher high here on the 30-minute.
Yeah, so let's see what they do if they push new highs. Let's see what order flows look like up there.
All right, Fed's Quarrel says economy is solid despite uncertainty around U.S. trade policy. There's your spike.
Everybody's popping their own agenda. It's crazy. On our IB, we're a little bit wider than normal right now.
We're a little bit wider than normal. That's right.
Yeah. but we're still inside. That would shock me if we did an inside day.
That would definitely make next week interesting.
Well, it would. I'm sure they would gap it on Monday.
Yeah, who knows what comes out over the weekend.
Oh, they're interesting times. That's what we said. We said the fall was going to be interesting.
We said it was going to be interesting.
It has not disappointed yet. Okay.
All right, so you can't see it on this chart, but that 85 is actually the VWAP for the week. 85.50. Let's see if they can roll over here. Come on now. Give me some sellers. So you can see we got a little bit of selling order flow. It's not enough to counter the buying just yet. Let's blow this up so that we're just looking at this chart. This is our primary focus. So I want to see sellers that are stronger than the buyers. They're trying. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this trigger, any questions anybody else like to cover for specific products that we can pull up as well? Go ahead and throw those either in the chat window or in the Q&A. Happy to cover those. But now you kind of have an idea of what we're looking for yet in the day. And again, so we took a quick early morning trade in that first 5 minutes back to, that was kind of the one trade. Now we're looking for, now we've taken out the overnight low. We're looking for an opportunity to get short. This would be target 1. This is target 2. So now we're looking to trigger. And we've had some buying coming back up in here. We want to see some sellers step in.
Let's see what they do if they pop these new highs. Could just suck them in here. They're not buying it right now. It's a pretty weak order flow. Come on, guys, turn it over. You can do it.
Let's see what this. Oh, they might. They just might. Man, the delta on this last 30 minutes. So that's why I just pulling this up. So you had 2,000 to the sell side, 257, and now 1414 to the buy side. So I mean, this is not. We haven't changed hands of control yet. This is what we call responsive buying activity. All right, Alex, I see your question about Bitcoin, and Peter, your question about ES. We'll look at those here in just a second. Come on, show me something good.
Yeah, one thing, guys, too, when you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, why don't you guys just short here? Because we haven't seen any sellers really step in yet. I mean, if from this high, we're high up here at 84 or 85 evens, and since 85 we brought it back to 77. That's telling us that without the order flow, that's just telling you, okay, sellers just nowhere in sight at this point. So
yeah, no follow.
So you got to be careful still. I mean, we're hoping for sellers to come in here, but as we get closer and creep up to that 90 area, then that, I mean, what is the 94? I mean, my goodness, it's a heck of a turnaround.
Mm-hmm. So really,
Well, they're struggling.
I'd love to see him either see some strong selling, or I want to see him take back 73, the base of this last big buying spike here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, while we're doing that, I'm going to pull up the BTC chart. So this one actually came up on our chart because we were looking at a couple different things.
Good night.
We look at, there's opportunity between price and value across multiple time frames. Yeah, here you go. They're just pushing. All right. Are they going to go tag 90? I think they're going to go tag 90.
Yeah, I think they are. It's pretty good volume, or I mean, it's less than last push, but we're not. I mean, we still got a couple minutes in this, so that's a heck of a reversal here.
Mm-hmm.
So the question may be, when do you guys start considering longs?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we get above 90 and hold. Yeah, we got to look long at that point then.
Yeah. And
I mean,
that's where that 78.28 can come into play.
Yeah, for sure. We could take out that high IB high. This is a huge IB, by the way, guys. We could take out that IB high, then we'd also be above the close, or the open is at 78.06. So don't see this too often on a Friday.
Mm-mm.
You're experiencing something that's never been done before.
He's being very facetious, everybody, just so you
Yes. When there's a tweet and a piece of news and everybody's out for their own agenda, anything can happen in this market. So you got to be on your toes. As they say, do not fall in love with your position. Fall in love with your spot, your stops, please.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. This is a long-term chart and Bitcoin. I've been looking for potential opportunities to be long Bitcoin, and you can see some really prominent nodes. There's one right here at 79.11. There's a big one up here at 10.323, and there's another one down here at 53.75. Now, I don't have a dog in the hunt about what I think ultimately about Bitcoin. I'm just looking at how people are behaving around it, and specifically the opportunity. If we can hold this area right in here and find some buyers, I think there's a good opportunity back towards 10K. That's a reasonable expectation. As the auction goes back and forth between value references, and this is actually a great example because you have very prominent areas to look at in play. So far I've not seen. We've been trading lower today. We would have to trade really kind of above 8,500 for me to feel like we were, I could defend that and look back toward the 10K area. Well,
yeah, I want to see him get below that 75 area.
Yep.
Yeah, 77, 75 area. I want to see him get below that before I consider this.
Yeah, so
here's
a nice little impulsive move higher. If that should get higher prices. So if they immediately turn back through, that could been that we trapped some buyers up here, and then could give this thing some mojo. But you can see right now they're still continuing higher, as expected. Apologize. I had a sinus infection a couple weeks ago, and it's the 2 weeks of coughing after that. Let's look at the ES over here real quick. So a couple things I'll say about the ES just overall where we're at is these sellers from this day are still in control. This is what we call selling excess. We've had some buying excess, and the auction is now kind of really trying to figure out what to do next. You'll see that I did a markup on this chart today. I do a markup on ES every morning, but really, unless we get back above 3K, I still see that this is sellers are in control. We've not been able to take back this really large volume day. This has been more acceptance of price, and we've actually migrated value. So you can see this large node here represents acceptance of price. Earlier, it was around 3K. So that means that we've been moving price lower and not buying with any kind of conviction. It's been rather weak buying. So, you know, I think 29.96, kind of where we are here at 20.87, are opportunities to go and ultimately move towards 29.20 area. And so I'm looking for us to continue to move towards 29.20 unless 3K comes first. And I'm not a day trade ES trader. I look for ES. I mean, I say that and then I'm gonna lie because I took a day trade in ES this morning. The same trade that I saw in the NQ quick off the open, it took a little bit longer for it to materialize, but there was more divergence between the open price and yesterday's point of control at 79.75. And so same deal, opened, test higher, come back in the same range, you're short, stop above the high. As long as the order flow and volume is to the sell side, you're short to the target. So it took about 15 minutes. So that's a little bit of an open rebalance trade. The edge and rationale around that is when you have a prior session that you've had significant rotations around a specific price and you open close to that, that's like a magnet that pulls the auction, and the auction often will test to see if that price is valid before it tries to establish new value. So your best reference of value every day is yesterday's point of control. That's where you start, and then you're deciding, you know, where are we going to establish new value. And so at the moment, the ES is establishing value just a share higher, about 4 points higher, whereas the NQ is establishing value lower. So this is also a clue. Looking across I encourage you to look across multiple indexes because you can get some divergence across these indexes. To that end, let's go look at where's my Dow. Dow is inside day. Let's just focus on just the indexes here. Oop. Okay, Russell inside, no IB extension. ES has higher prices, but it's come back inside of them. All right, there's crude to second target. Let me update that.
And I'm not on that one, so I covered on that that second push up, so I'm okay with that.
I just need to update. Okay.
Crude's going nuts right now. They're looking to take that high out of yesterday.
Target 2.
I'm ignoring crude the rest of the day.
Flat on trails. Okay, cool.
Yep, good call there. That was a tough one. That IB break happened so darn quick. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You had to have your order there. If you didn't, you weren't getting it.
You weren't getting it. No, you were not getting it. That's for sure.
And you know, let's just really quickly say that. So there's a few different plays obviously we like to use, which is an IB breakout, IB fade, and stuff like that. Today on crew, we're looking for the IB break to the upside. If you didn't have your order there, you didn't get it because it moves so fast on you. So with that, you just can't chase. You know, if we pull back right away into the IB, you can reload or establish a position because you can establish risk, but never chase these things, guys. I'm going to implore you never to be spontaneous like that and chase stuff, because I always say, listen, I'm a Midwest kid. I grew up in the Midwest with gravel roads and a bunch of dogs that ran crazy. And when they would chase cars, it never ended well. So it's the same thing. It was the same thing with trading. When you chase, it never ends well. So you may get lucky, but it's not what I call a good plan.
That's right.
Our order floors on NQ is waving up here pretty heavily. Yeah. So you see that every push up, they're getting their buyer or sellers are stepping in. So
yeah, this could be close. Maybe. Yeah, go crude. Good night.
So if you have a crude chart up, just look at it and just imagine yourself short at this point. Okay. And that's another reason not to step in front of these things as well. That's why we use order flow. That's why we use delta, over a cum delta and stuff, just to give us an idea who's in charge. We have 4 questions that we use when we enter into a trade. What's the market trying to do and how good of a job is it doing it? And part of that is determining, okay, is order flow, supporting that? It's the same thing, same reason we're not short NASDAQ right now, because order flow is not representing that. Right now, they're still trying to push this thing higher until we see sellers step in.
Yeah.
And so we just, guys, when trading, probably the biggest thing I can give you in trading, and Josh, obviously let me know if you have better, and you probably do, is, got to know when to stay out of the deal. We always, Josh alluded to it earlier, that we wait for the bag of money sitting in the corner so we can go pick it up. It's easy, right? So there are easy trades out there. Don't let anybody kid you and say that there's not. You just have to wait for them. That's your job. Your job is to wait for good trades. Okay. And so you may ask, well, what's a good trade? Well, that's your trade plan. So
engulfing, look at that. Crude's engulfing. Good night.
Let's see here.
Is there more crude news?
Yeah, I was going to say that on a Friday, we're a couple hours from close. That sounds like a news event to me. Possibly an Iranian situation. Well, I can tell you my plan for crude today.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing anymore. Yeah.
No, we had obviously, well, so let's talk about this. It's a great scenario. We have an engulfing day at this point. That's pretty good buying in here. Unless news comes out on this weekend that makes this thing gap way down, this is probably our bias coming into Monday at this point is, okay, if things stay or we open up inside the range here or just gap up, we want to look long, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's our bias at this point. This is a lot of buying. This is big movement. Our low today is 55.24. We're currently trading at 56.6. So what is it?
56.69, 56.70.
Yeah, so we're a buck and a half up.
Yeah, we're into that gap. So next level of note is 57.29.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Come on in, Q.
Yeah, so
give us a little love.
Yeah, I'm looking at 79 now. If we can close below 79 with some selling, then I may get interested in this.
Yep.
Because we can clean up some stuff down here. We could definitely run down to 66 then.
Come on. Can they do it? Peter, I see your question about cumulative delta on Sierra charts. I'm not a Sierra chart user, so I don't know how to view it.
I do use it. What's up with it? What's the question?
It's just how to view cumulative delta.
In Sierra charts, so what you have to do, I have Sierra as a backup for myself. Not a big fan of it. It's just wonky to use, in my opinion. Not to say it's wrong. It's just wonky for me to use. So the way you have to do is you have to open a chart and put your instrument on there. So let's say it's the ES, right? And then you have to, under your chart settings, you have to establish if you want Globex cum delta, then you have to use Globex timeframes. You want intraday, just have it start and end on the cash close and open, and then you have to add cumulative delta bars, and then you'll be able to see it. Now, if you want to just see the cum delta, not the bars, there's a way of doing it. I don't know that. Probably have to reach out to Sierra or look at their help center on that. But yeah, you have to. Unfortunately, you just can't put a cum delta on there. You have to put it with the bars. So, and that'll change per time frame, whether you do a 2 minute, 5 minute, whatever the case may be.
Tony, answer your question. So do you think you overtrade or undertrade or just right? Are you asking us if we think that we overtrade, undertrade, or just right? I will tell you a consistent experience. Yeah, I mean, consistent feedback that we've had from our developing traders is that we're significantly more patient than just about anything they've ever seen before. And it's frustrating. I don't know where it came from or what drives it. I think it's because just the biochemical reaction of the brain around trading by default tilts you towards wanting to have lots of activity. Like everybody wants to be the scalper that can catch every turn and just like, over compound the day. And I will tell you, there is not a sliver of research in the world that says that that's successful. More trading almost always diminishes performance. So being patient for, I mean, in a given product, I'll do 1 to 2 trades in that product a day. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not a scalper. I'm looking for a trade that can give me a little bit of time, that is more of an intraday swing trader. So JP's the same way. We've taken a trade in crude. We're pretty much done with that one, and feel great about that. We defined the trade. We used the 4 questions. We knew what we're going to do, what we were not going to do. In Q, taking a trade. Here's the potential for another one if it meets the criteria that we're looking for, but we may not. We may not fit that, and that's fine. A good test of whether you're being patient enough for trading is if you have two things. If you have a day where you don't take a trade because nothing met your criteria, that's actually telling you that you're starting to develop your trades well enough, that you're being picky enough and exerting, the amount of control that you can have over the market, right? Because, only 2 things we can really control is we can control how much we risk and where we desire to put that risk on. So outside of that, we can't control anything. So, by defining the trade, being patient for it, there are gonna be days where it doesn't work out. It doesn't set up according to your rules and how you would define that setup, so you don't take a trade. I'll have at least 1 day a month where I don't take a trade. The other one is with regard to sizing and risk is, I have daily loss limits for myself. I'll typically hit my loss limit once a month. That tells me I'm putting on enough risk. But outside of that, I think that I do a really good job with Goldilocks of how much I trade. But that's
I'm with you as well. Most people overtrade because they're trying to get a move. Okay, they don't have the patience to stay into something with an established risk and let it play out. Everybody's looking for that immediate, that dopamine hit, I guess, if you will, that immediate reaction. By the way, they just pushed it up and they found sellers here.
Yeah. Here we go. Take it out. Take it out. Come on, take it out. Take out that low. Take it out. Come on.
Come on. Get that thing. You looking for 82?
Yep.
Yep.
Come on, get 82.
Think there it goes.
There we go.
All right, come on back. Come back.
Give us a little. Come back.
Just a tad.
Come on. Push back. Come on. Now, target 1 on this is going to be back down to that 55 area. We want to watch this. Watch this 5-minute close here. We've got the order flow where we want it.
Yes, and then engulfing.
We got 3 minutes. 3 minutes to close this 5-minute.
Yep.
So I can tell you right now what I don't want is I don't want to see a trade above this 5-minute high. Absolutely. So if I enter here just a second, get a little more pullback, get more activity in there. We have.
That's pretty good selling right there. I'm expecting a little bit of follow through here.
Yeah. They've almost countered. So you can see the last one was 500, the buy side. We're like in the 400s to the sell side. So these little wiggles higher.
There it is.
There we go. That should, okay. Now we're taking them out. Two
Come on,
minutes.
guys.
2 minutes. ES is also engulfing stronger order flow. Come on.
Yeah, I want to see that 80 break here and then run it down to 74 right away. That would be great.
So what's happened here, at least initially, is we've come back up into that area of inventory, that 95 area, and re-engaged those sellers.
There we go. Come on.
Come on. Come on. There's a big order right there, 1,000 contracts.
Yeah, I would say. I don't know if that's just absorption or what, but
Yeah.
I think they got a little bit more down here. I'm expecting it's some pretty good selling right there. And the profile needs to get worked out a little bit. It's a little wonky looking right now. Okay, don't do that.
Yeah, they got to push below. Come on. Get below 79 again. We are fighting some algos right in here with some VWAP stuff.
Yeah, it's right at the VWAP. So 80 is holding things up right here. So
if that goes, then that, yeah, the flush is going to happen pretty quick here.
Yeah, I would agree. There they are. Work it.
Come on.
Work it,
More
girl.
volume.
Work
More
it.
volume. Keep going.
Yep, they're trying.
1 minute.
1 minute. Oh, there's a lot of volume there. Holy cow. Okay, here we go. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Where's the flush? Where's the flush to 79 quickly to get them just scare all these guys out?
Yeah. Hard to scare the quant.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy. There we go. There, I feel it now. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. Follow through.
Keep going.
Follow through.
Punch it, Chewy. Okay. Get lower.
Yeah, that's a. There we go. Take that out. Pink. Pink, pink, pink. Pink, pink, pink.
Okay, so pullbacks like 85, offer opportunity to add more risk. Stops on everything above 96.
Yep. Watch that order flow. It's weak on this pullback here.
That's what we want to see. We want to see weak buying.
Yeah, they're going to hit right into that volume right there at 83 and a quarter. That's going to be a tough one to get by through. So, yeah, about 93. It must be a nice day. Everybody keeps running by my office here.
Come on, punch them.
It's tough. They got to get below 79 and close it down there. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
See if they can do this. There we go. Come on.
And we might have to waffle here for about 10 minutes before they finally break.
Yeah, and this is what this is what we were just talking about, because guys want to quickly get their profits and get out and stuff like that. You know, we have established our risk. We're going to be wrong above that 5-minute candle when we're going to accept that. And now we're looking for a larger move. So this may not happen in 1 second. We may not get that big poke. And then this may also just roll up and take us out too. So that's just stuff that happens. And they're fighting. We got a few things there. If they break this thing's going to go quickly though.
Yeah.
well, what are we going to do? We got negative order flow on this 5, and they're trying to pump it up, so that tells you they're struggling here. Of course, what could change all this is a news event. So, well, boys, are we going to do anything? There we go. Test it. There we go. Come on.
Some more contract volume down there.
Test it. Test it, test it, test it. All right. Well, you guys aren't getting much education today, so.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not answering your questions. You're just listening to us beg the market to roll over.
Yeah. Well, so let's, we've talked about the 4 questions here. So the target is back here to 55. That's a reasonable target on the rotation lower. We saw a trigger. We saw a rejection off the, price where we expected to essentially see some buyers with some negative order flow. We're leaning into that. We're leaning into that because if those sellers can't get any follow through, then we're wrong and we want to get out. We can see some higher prices up towards 95, but we want it to be weaker. We don't want it to be strong buying order flow. We want it to be weak. Or, higher prices, if they can keep the negative order flow, that's awesome.
And we could just rotate in here the rest of the day too, which is
totally
very possible. All right, let's see what they do here.
Okay, so now you can see here's some positive. They've gone a little bit positive, but it's still not enough to take out that high. But of course, they could totally goose this thing and run it. And I'll tell you what, if they get back above 94, you want to be out of this thing.
Yeah, for sure. But there's no volume right now in this. But that doesn't mean this thing can't go up. Just understand that. So we'll see if they can pause it here and then roll it back over. So.
Yep. Okay, now get a new low 5 minute.
Yeah.
If they make a new 5 minute low here, I'm going to add some more.
Yeah, so what they did here, guys, is they pushed it back up here. Delta was really weak on this last push. That doesn't mean it can't go up, guys. It could be just thin here. So we're going to hope that they roll this over now, take out that low 80, 70, 77, 80 quarter is what we're looking for them to take out right now. And what are they doing? It's going up on thin air, man.
Okay, we got 4 minutes left here in our session, but we're going to stick with it just a second just to see if we can either get stopped out or get some follow through. We shall see, we shall see.
Yeah, we shall. Well, looks like they're going to want to gun in for us. Yep, they're gunning for us. So.
Stops are in.
Yes, they are. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
So this is in the category of what should not happen, you know, in those 4 questions. What should we not see? Well, we shouldn't see them take back out the scene of where those sellers first came in. We're coming back and testing that. So, you know, that's why we're primed. We're not going to try to fight this or like, oh, and hope that, you know, this thing's going to roll over. And here's the thing. If we get stopped out, we can always reassess if there's a new setup, okay? But it's important to use the stops and define the trade using those 4 questions, because then it frees you mentally to be able to step back and say, okay, now here's what I'm going to do next. The worst thing to do is, you know, not take a stop, not get out of the trade as you had defined it, and then you start going into defense mode, and then all of the parts of your brain that want to keep you in the trade and want to keep you fighting this will be at play. All right, I got to check here because I think I have another call right after this.
Okie dokie. Again, very, very unbelievably slow delta moving up here. So everything points this thing should just roll, but you know, you never know with algorithms.
Okay, I got top of the hour. All right, great. Oop. Peter, I see your question. How can you instinctively distinguish between enough time and too much time when anticipating changing control of the profile? Well, the instinctive part comes from spending time with the profile. Like, you don't get to instinct without actually spending a significant amount of time. So I'd just say continue to observe how how the auction behaves. Look at how the graphic builds. Go back and think how does it ultimately shape. One of the things that we're doing as traders is we're trying to anticipate how the shape of the profile might look when it's completed, as it's building. And so that can help build some of those instincts as well. Oh, man.
Like watching paint dry.
It is like watching paint dry. Okay, new 30-minute here. What are they gonna do? I mean, I like this to your question, Peter. I mean, I can see there's kind of a hole down here in the profile they could fill out as the day progresses. So that's part of what I'm thinking about. Part of what's informing the idea as we're having a rotational day and not likely a trend day. So, all right, I like this. Come on, make new 30-minute lows.
I think there's a good chance. There we go.
Yeah, pour it on.
So we didn't get stopped out.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let's say they roll this thing over now at let's see 79. If they did, they could punch it down there, which would be great.
Yeah. Good delta numbers.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah, I like it. There we go.
Punch it, Chewy. All right, so that 80 area is really
sticky. Daggone.
Yes, it is.
They just cannot push below that. Those darn algorithms. Golly.
They're buying it left and right.
Which is just
VWAP.
Yeah, which is just telling you that there's really no strong institutional selling here, because if we're doing that kind of mechanical buying,
yeah,
we need a tweet. Somebody tweet something. Somebody tweet something.
I tell you, when they do drop it, that thing's going,
It's
because
going fast.
yeah, yes, it is.
Good
Yeah.
night, nurse.
Yes, yes, yes. Choppy, choppy, choppy.
Yep, here it comes. Here comes the
Yeah.
the engulfing.
And that's why we put stops in.
And that's why we put stops in. Yes, is
guys,
engulf. So if they can close this 5 minute with an engulfing buying, then I'll probably peel it off. It's just not what I want to see. But man, if they get punched below 80, we could just rock and roll.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm loving that. But they're defending it hard.
They are defending it hard.
Okay, try again. Try again. Get up, kids. Get off the mat. Keep trying.
Gosh, 4 times we come into that 80.
I know. That's how strong the VWAP is, guys. Sometimes if you don't put a VWAP on your chart, probably recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I think we either bust up and head up to the open at 86 or 7806.
Yep.
Or we bust this thing down below 80 and we continue down into that 64 range. That's what I'm looking at as far as range is concerned.
Yeah. This is definitely some balance that's taking place. So now the auction is going to decide if it's going to make a new move.
Yeah, and the way we balance off that bottom up here, actually, even though I'm short, it's probably suggesting there could be more upside here. So that's why we are keeping a lid on this thing. So,
yep.
And that's just the way trading works, guys. All right, let's see here. What you gonna do? Are you gonna break it out?
Or break it down?
That's so funny.
It's just the fight.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. This is why people get killed all the time in these markets, because it's so... All right, they're going to try again.
If at first you don't succeed, try the 5th time.
Give it a rip, boys. You can do it.
How does someone assess daily performance? Well, JP, you want to take a step at that?
Through execution. Okay, so what I mean by that is that you don't look at your P&L. Your P&L is a byproduct of your execution. So you have to go back. Whoa, there it goes.
Yeah.
There's the news event.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. See ya.
All righty. Oh, I'm peeling it off.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. Yeah, that's a news event. Thank you. Josh called the tweet.
Yep.
Oh, you guys are seeing it all. Something happened, guys. Don't chase this.
Like that. Yep. All right, sweet, not bad.
No, there we go.
Now we're going to 30. Here comes 30. Oh, that's awesome. Now, okay, here this is perfect question for all right, I'm flat. I want to
Yep,
make sure that
me
I'm flat
too.
across all. I want no
Is
positions. No positions. I want to make sure that I am completely out of this. Yep, flat. Okay, perfect. So we defined the trade as target one was 55. Okay, so we were defining our risk relative to that. That's the reasonable target. When you're going and assessing your performance, you're assessing it based on what you could reasonably anticipate in the auction. Stuff like this, you can't anticipate that. You have no idea when that's going to happen. You're not fast enough. You're not smart enough to grab that. So when we're building the trade and defining the trade, the question is, did I define it based on, did I answer the 4 questions? Because this still happens sometimes, is that you'll have a trade that didn't work out. So like if we had gotten stopped out on that trade, Jed and I would have made the right, like we would have assessed our performance and said we did really well because we defined the trade, we knew what we were looking for, we knew the risk, and that's what we were looking for. Sometimes you can have a winning trade that's actually poor performance because you put the trade on and it was a lotto trade. And if you're not going through and assessing those questions, your trading based on those 4 questions and a process and reason around those setups, then you don't know what to eliminate and lead toward consistency.
man,
Okay,
this thing is going nuts.
what is the tweet? What is the tweet?
This
White
is
House. Oh, White House weighing limits on U.S. portfolio flows into China.
oh snap. That's huge.
Good Lord, why would you?
Well, thank you for the tweet.
Yeah.
Like we said before, anything can happen on this. This is crazy, honestly. So just be careful, guys, please.
Peter, your question, the more time spent in an area, the more the acceptance. Time is a function. Time, not as important as volume at a price, but we can use time as an approximation of volume coming into it. So, all right, well, with that, let's end it.
Yeah, that's enough to end it on right there, guys.
That's enough to end on it. This is definitely setting the stage for that 2920 ES. And man, that's great. Again, I mean, the tweet was not something that we know that that's headline risk, but and we're thankful that happened. But again, you saw how we had defined the trade. So 55 was the target. We achieved that, and we're not being piggish about this because you could just as easily have news that comes back and takes us right back through the high.
Yeah.
Trade. So
guys, just real quick, we talked about execution. Part of that execution is establishing risk, like we did on that. If you've done that, you've done your job. Not every trade's going to work out. We happen to get lucky on this one. Luck helped us, no doubt. We had the right trade on. We felt for the risk and what order flow was doing, and we just happened to get a tweet, which really worked out well. If you did not have a stop, I'm going to let you know that this is about over $1,000 move right here. So if you didn't have a stop and you were long on this thing,
oh gosh,
you're in big trouble right now. So guys, take the stops. Okay, it's pretty simple.
Let's look at that from 92 to 76. I mean, you're basically $2,000 a contract. You would have been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why we do this stuff. Awesome. Well, with that, hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. And just a couple next steps here. One, if you're not yet part of a community, I know some of you are a part of our community. Love to see you guys. Spend a week with us where we're going to kind of walk top to bottom. We'll give you an insight into our process and how this works. You even have some opportunities for some one-on-one discussion. It's always remarkable to people that take a trial week with us and actually don't schedule any one-on-one time. I think that is such a, that person's not going to be successful. If you're given that opportunity and not taking advantage of that, I don't know what to do to help you. Follow us on Twitter, Trade with Prof, or on Facebook, Trade Profile. If you ever have the need of help or have some questions, you can send us an email at team@tradewithprofile.com or give us a call or text at 970-682-3189. That's it. We'll be back next week with another Q&A session, and we're here to help you learn how to profile, make better trading decisions, and take more profits. Thanks for everybody's questions, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Sounds good. See ya.